Hyunwoo stared at his scanner screen and rubbed his tired eyes. He had been working the night shift at Galactic Monitoring Station Kepler-7 for 3 years now. Most nights were quiet. Too quiet. The Vale Nebula sector had been empty for 200 years. Nothing lived there anymore. Nothing could live there anymore. The great stellar collapse had made sure of that. But tonight was different. Tonight his scanner was showing something that should not exist. "Computer, run scan again," Hyunwoo said, his voice shaky. The blue light of the scanner swept across his face as the machine worked. Numbers flowed down his screen like digital rain. When it finished, the same impossible reading appeared. There was a ship in the dead zone. Hyunwoo's hands shook as he pressed the emergency button. Red lights flashed throughout the station. Within minutes, Commander Jiun rushed into the scanner room. Her black hair was messy from sleep, but her eyes were sharp and alert. "What is it, Hyunwoo?" she asked. "Ma'am, there's a ship in Sector 77 Alpha. Moving fast. Very fast." Jiun looked at the screen. Her face went pale. "That's impossible. Nothing can survive in that sector. The radiation levels would kill any known life form in seconds." "I know, ma'am, but look at these readings." The scanner showed a ship unlike anything in their database. It was big, maybe 2 kilometers long, but that was not the strangest part. The strangest part was how it moved. The ship seemed to bend space around itself. It moved through areas that should take months to cross in just hours. "Run the scan again," Jiun ordered. "I already did, ma'am. 3 times. Same result every time." Jiun grabbed her communicator. "Wake up Chief Analyst Dong-hyuk. Emergency meeting in 5 minutes." Within minutes, the station's senior staff gathered in the main control room. Dong-hyuk looked half asleep, his uniform wrinkled. But when he saw the scanner data, he became wide awake. "This energy signature," he said, pointing at the screen. "I've never seen anything like it. It's not Altarian, not Zephyrian, not any known species. Could it be a new alien race?" asked scanner operator Min Jung. "Maybe," Dong-hyuk said. "But look at this." He pulled up another screen. "The ship's hull appears to be moving like it's alive. See these readings? The outer surface is constantly changing, repairing itself." The room fell silent. Everyone stared at the impossible data. "There's more," Hyunwoo said quietly. "The ship is heading toward the core worlds. At its current speed, it will reach inhabited space in 72 hours. Commander Jiun felt her stomach drop. The core worlds were home to billions of beings from 12 different species. If this unknown ship was hostile, try to contact them, she ordered. All frequencies. Communications Officer Junho worked his controls. "Unknown vessel. This is Galactic Monitoring Station Kepler-7. Please identify yourself. Please respond. Silence. Unknown vessel, you are entering restricted space. Please respond to this transmission." Still nothing. "They're not answering, ma'am," Junho reported. Dong-hyuk was working at his computer, searching through old files. His fingers moved quickly across the keyboard. "Wait," he said suddenly. "I found something." The main screen changed. Old files appeared, covered in dust and digital decay. They were from the archives, the deep storage where forgotten data lived. "These are theoretical ship designs," Dong-hyuk explained, "from before the Great Stellar Collapse. Look at this hull pattern. See how it's designed to be? Flexible, self-repairing." The room was quiet except for the hum of computers. "Who designed these ships?" Jian asked. Dong-hyuk's voice was barely a whisper. "According to these files, humans." The word hit the room like a physical blow. Humans were a myth. A story told to children. They were supposed to be extinct, wiped out during the Great Stellar Collapse 2 centuries ago. "That's impossible," Min Jung said. "Humans are extinct. Everyone knows that. Are they?" Dong-hyuk asked. He pulled up more files. "Look at these reports. Strange ships seen in dead space. Vessels that move in ways that break the laws of physics. Ships that seem to think for themselves." "You're saying this ship is human?" Jian asked. "I'm saying it matches human theoretical designs. Designs that were never supposed to be built." Hyunwoo looked at his scanner again. The ship was still moving, still heading toward populated space. "Ma'am, what do we do?" Jian stared at the screen. In her 20 years of service, she had never faced anything like this. The ship was impossible. If it really was human, then everything they knew about history was wrong. "Send a priority message to the Galactic Council," she decided. "Tell them we have a code black situation. Unknown vessel, possibly human origin, approaching core worlds." "Human?" Junho asked. "Should I really put that in the message?" Yes, and make sure they know this ship can move faster than anything in our fleet. If it's hostile, we can't stop it. As the message went out across space, Hyunwoo watched his scanner. The mysterious ship continued its impossible journey. It moved like a living thing, graceful and purposeful. Why now? He wondered aloud. If humans really survived, why show themselves now? Why after 200 years? No one had an answer. Deep in space, the ship called Eden's Promise continued its journey. Its living hull rippled with soft light. Inside, Captain Seung-ho stood on his bridge, watching the stars ahead. His crew of 30 moved quietly around him, their bodies connected to their ship in ways that the galaxy had forgotten. "They've seen us, Captain," reported Navigator Dayun. "Good," Seung-ho replied. "It's time they knew we survived. It's time they knew what's coming." Behind them, in the dead space of the Veil Nebula, something else was stirring, something ancient and hungry. The Devourers were beginning to wake up, but the humans were no longer running. After 200 years of hiding, they were ready to fight. Not with weapons, but with something far more powerful. They were ready to teach the galaxy how to sing. The emergency council meeting on Nexus Prime was chaos. Chancellor Yuna banged her ceremonial hammer on the crystal table, but the representatives from 12 different species kept arguing. Their voices filled the great chamber with angry sounds in dozens of languages. "Order! Order!" Yuna shouted. Her blue skin had turned darker, a sign of stress among her people. The Altarians. Admiral Taeho of the Combined Fleet stood up. His tall frame cast a shadow across the room. "We should destroy it now before it reaches inhabited space. We have no idea what its intentions are." "You want to start a war with beings who can travel faster than light itself?" asked Representative Kyung-soo of the Merchant Guild. "That ship covered a distance in 6 hours that should take our fastest ships 3 months. Dr. So-young, the galaxy's top expert on ancient civilizations, tapped her datapad. "With respect, Admiral, we may not be able to destroy it. Look at these readings from Kepler-7. The main screen showed the scan data from Hyunwoo's discovery. The ship's strange energy patterns danced across the display like living art. "The vessel appears to have some kind of living hull," Dr. So-young continued. "It repairs itself instantly. Our weapons might not even damage it." "Everything can be destroyed," Admiral Taeho said firmly. "We just need enough firepower, do we?" asked Dr. So-young. She pulled up new data on the screen. "I've been studying the old archives. Before the Great Stellar Collapse, there were stories about a species called humans. They were said to build ships that grew rather than being constructed." Murmurs filled the chamber. Several representatives laughed. "Humans are myths," said Counselor Hae Rim of the Science Division. "Stories to frighten children, are they?" Dr. So-young asked. "Look at this." The screen changed to show ancient text files. These are fragments from old databases. They describe humans as a species that adapted to any environment. They didn't fight nature. They became part of it. Chancellor Yuna studied the data. Even if humans existed, they died out during the collapse. "Everyone knows that, did they?" Dr. So-young pressed. "Or did they just disappear? Look at these reports." New files appeared on screen. Strange ships in dead space. Vessels that seem to think. Craft that bend the laws of physics. Admiral Taeho was getting impatient. "This is all interesting history, Doctor, but we have a real threat approaching our worlds. I have 3 battle fleets ready to intercept." "And what if it doesn't want to fight?" asked Counselor Minwoo. "What if it just wants to talk? Then why doesn't it answer our communications?" Taeho replied. Communication specialist Yoon Suk spoke up from her station. "Sir, we've tried every known language and frequency. The ship acknowledges our signals but doesn't respond." "Maybe it doesn't know how to respond," suggested Dr. So-young. "If these really are humans, they've been gone for 200 years. Their language might have changed." The debate continued for hours. Some wanted to attack. Others wanted to wait and see. A few suggested running away completely. Then something happened that changed everything. "Chancellor," Yoon-suk called out. The ship just changed course. The main screen showed the vessel's new path. It was no longer heading directly toward the core worlds. Instead, it was moving toward the outer rim, avoiding populated areas. "Why would it do that?" asked Yuna. Admiral Taeho was studying tactical displays at his station. His face went white. "How did it know?" "Know what?" Dr. So-young asked. "I had 3 ambush fleets positioned along its original path. The ship changed course before I gave the order to move them into position. It avoided ambushes that hadn't even been set yet. The chamber fell silent. Everyone stared at the Admiral. "That's impossible," Counselor Hayrim said. "No one can predict military movements that haven't been made." "Unless," Dr. So Young said slowly, "they can see time differently than we can." The ship continued its new course, weaving through space in patterns that made no sense. It moved like it knew where every obstacle would be before the obstacles were there. "It's not just fast," Admiral Tejo realized. "It's precognitive. It knows what we're going to do before we do it." Chancellor Yuna felt a chill run down her spine. "Doctor, what else do your archives say about humans?" Dr. So Young scrolled through her data. They were supposed to be problem solvers. They found solutions that no one else could see. They didn't just adapt to environments. They found ways to make impossible things possible. And their ships? According to these fragments, human ships weren't just vehicles. They were partners. Humans formed bonds with their technology that went beyond normal understanding. On the main screen, the mysterious ship continued its impossible dance through space. It moved with purpose, like it was going somewhere specific. "Where is it heading now?" Yuna asked. Yunsuk checked her instruments. "The Kepler system, where monitoring station Kepler 7 first detected it. Why would it go back there?" Dr. So Young had an idea that frightened her. What if it's not running from us? What if it's trying to lead us somewhere? The thought hung in the air like a bad smell. If the ship wanted to communicate, why this strange game of movement and avoidance? Admiral Tejo was already planning. "I'm sending the stealth ship Silent Echo to intercept. If this thing wants to talk, Captain Minho will find out what it has to say. And if it doesn't want to talk?" asked Counselor Minwoo. "Then we'll find out how tough that living hull really is." Dr. So Young looked at the ship's graceful movement on screen. Something about it reminded her of a dance or maybe a song. "Admiral, what if this isn't about talking or fighting? What if it's about something else entirely? Like what? What if it's trying to warn us?" The question echoed through the chamber. Outside, in the cold darkness of space, the ship called Eden's Promise continued its careful journey. Captain Seung-ho stood on his bridge, his mind linked to his vessel's living consciousness. "They're sending someone to meet us," reported Navigator Da-Yun. "Good," Seung-ho replied. "We need them to understand. The Devourers are stirring. Time is running out." Behind them, in the deep space between stars, ancient machines began to wake from their long sleep. They were hungry, and they remembered the taste of worlds. Captain Minho gripped his command chair as the Silent Echo moved through space. His stealth ship was the best in the fleet, designed to be invisible to all known sensors. But as they approached the mysterious vessel, he wondered if their technology would work against something that seemed to see the future. "Distance to target?" he asked. Engineer Haewon checked her instruments. 50,000 kilometers and closing. The target appears to be waiting for us." "Waiting?" Minho frowned.
How can you tell?
"It's not moving, sir. For the first time since we detected it, the ship has stopped completely." Communications Officer Jun Sik looked up from his station. "Captain, I'm getting something strange on the communication channels." "What kind of something?" "It's like music, sir. Very faint. Almost like the ship is humming." Minho had been in space for 15 years. He had seen gas giants turn into diamonds and watched stars being born, but he had never heard a ship sing. "Put it on speakers." The bridge filled with a soft, gentle sound. It was not quite music and not quite voice. It reminded Minho of wind through trees or waves on a beach. It was the most beautiful sound he had ever heard. "Sir," Haewon said, her voice full of wonder, "I'm getting detailed scans of the target now. You need to see this." The main screen showed the mystery ship in full detail. It was massive, shaped like a giant seed or egg. The hull looked like it was made of living metal that flowed like water. Patterns of light moved across its surface like the pulse of a heartbeat. "It's organic," Haewon breathed. "The entire ship is alive." "That's impossible," Minho said. "Sir, look at these readings. The hull is made of some kind of biometal. It's growing, healing, adapting. The ship isn't just using technology. It is technology." Junsik suddenly became excited. "Captain, I'm getting a response to our hails. They're answering. Put it through." A new voice came over the speakers. It was human, speaking in old galactic standard with an accent Minho had never heard. "Greetings, Silent Echo. This is Captain Seung-ho of the harvest ship Eden's Promise. Permission to come aboard? We have much to discuss and very little time." Minho looked at his crew. They stared back with wide eyes. A harvest ship? What did that mean? This is Captain Minho of the galactic fleet vessel Silent Echo. You are requesting to board our ship? That is correct, Captain. We mean no harm. We come seeking alliance against a common enemy. Common enemy? Who are you people? There was a pause. Then the voice came back, sadder now. We are the last humans, Captain Minho, and we bring grave news. Against all military protocol, Minho found himself saying, Permission granted. Docking Bay 2. The Eden's Promise moved toward them with impossible grace. As it approached, part of the living hull opened like a flower. A small craft emerged, no bigger than a shuttle. But like its parent ship, it seemed to be alive. The bio-shuttle docked with gentle precision. Minho and his crew waited in the docking bay, weapons ready but lowered. The airlock cycled and the door opened. 3 humans stepped out. Minho had seen pictures of humans in old databases, but seeing them in person was different. They looked so much like his own species, the Altarians, but with subtle differences. Their skin was softer colors, their eyes more varied. And there was something else, something in the way they moved. They seemed connected to everything around them. The leader stepped forward. He was tall with graying hair and kind eyes. I am Captain Sung-ho. This is Engineer Haewon and Navigator Da-eun. Minho noticed that Haewon shared a name with his own engineer. The humans smiled when they saw his confusion. Many names are universal, Da-eun explained. We are not so different, your people and mine. You're really human? Asked Junsik. But humans are extinct. Extinct? Sung-ho laughed, but it was not a happy sound. No, young friend. We are not extinct. We are hidden. We are careful. We are afraid. Afraid of what? Come aboard our ship, Haewon said. Let us show you. The journey to the Eden's Promise was unlike anything Minho had experienced. As soon as they entered the bio-shuttle, he felt a strange tingling in his mind. The walls around them pulsed with soft light. The ship is reading you, Da-eun explained, learning your biosignature. Don't worry. It won't hurt. The ship is alive. Haewon asked. Very much so, the human Haewon replied. Our ships are grown, not built. They are our partners, our friends. We live together. The Eden's Promise was even more amazing inside. The corridors were lined with what looked like living wood that glowed with inner light. The air smelled like flowers and rain. Everything hummed with quiet life. They passed other humans as they walked. Men and women of different ages, all moving with that same connected grace. Children played in gardens that grew from the walls themselves. Everyone looked healthy and content. How many of you are there? Minho asked. On this ship? 30 adults and 12 children, Sung-ho replied. In the galaxy? Perhaps a few thousand scattered across a dozen harvest ships. Harvest ships? We harvest life, Da-eun explained. Not to destroy, but to preserve. We collect genetic samples from dying worlds. We grow new ecosystems. We plant seeds of hope in dead places. They reached the bridge, which was unlike any command center Minho had ever seen. Instead of metal and screens, it was a living chamber filled with organic interfaces. Humans stood at stations that looked like flowering trees, their hands touching surfaces that pulsed with thought. Welcome to our home, Sung-ho said. Now let us show you why we have revealed ourselves after 200 years of hiding. The main display, which seemed to be made of flowing water, showed a star map. But this was not the galaxy Minho knew. Dark spots marked dozens of systems. These are dead zones, Sung-ho explained. Places where entire star systems have vanished. The official records say they were destroyed in the Great Stellar Collapse. They were, Junsik said. Everyone knows that. The collapse was not natural, Da-eun said quietly. It was the first feeding, and now they are waking up for the second. Who is waking up? Minho demanded. The humans looked at each other with fear in their eyes. Then Seung-ho spoke a word that chilled Minho's blood. The Devourers. The display changed to show something that should not exist. Massive shapes moving in the darkness between stars. Ancient machines the size of moons stirring from long sleep. They eat star systems, Haewon explained. They consume matter and energy until nothing remains. 200 years ago they fed and then slept. Now they are hungry again. Why are you telling us this? Minho asked. Because, Sung-ho said, alone we cannot stop them. Together we might have a chance. But first you must learn to hear the song. What song? Da-eun smiled and placed her hand on a living interface. The ship around them began to sing. a deep harmonic note that seemed to come from the universe itself. "The song of space and time," she said. "The music that holds all things together. Learn to sing with us, Captain Minho, and we can save the galaxy." Minho felt the song enter his mind, and for the first time in his life, he understood that technology and life were not separate things. They were one. The real war was just beginning. The data that Navigator Da-Un shared with Captain Minho made his blood run cold. On the living screens of Eden's Promise, star maps showed the horrible truth. Dark zones spread across the galaxy like a disease. Each dark spot had once been a thriving star system. "The Devourers have been sleeping for 200 years, Da-Un explained, her fingers dancing across bio-interfaces that responded to her thoughts. "But they are stirring now. We can feel them in the quantum songs." Chief Medical Officer Yoon-ji joined them on the bridge. She was a small woman with silver hair, but her eyes held the wisdom of someone who had seen too much death. "Show them the readings from the outer rim," she said to Da-Un. The display changed. New data flowed like living light across the screen. Minho's engineer Hae-won gasped as she saw the energy signatures. "These readings," she whispered. "They're massive." "How big are these Devourers?" "The smallest ones are the size of your largest cities," replied human Hae-won. "The biggest ones can swallow entire moons." Scientist Kyung-min approached their group. He was young for a human, maybe 30 years old, but his mind was connected to the ship's vast memory banks. When he spoke, it was like hearing the voice of the ship itself. "The Devourers are not natural beings," he said. "They were built by an ancient race that no longer exists. Their purpose is simple. Consume everything, convert matter into energy, then sleep until they are hungry again." "How do you know all this?" asked Junsik. "Because we've been running from them for 2 centuries, Captain Sung-ho said. When the first Devourer awakened and destroyed the Sol system, a few thousand humans escaped in ships like this one. We've been moving ever since, staying ahead of their scouts." The bridge fell quiet except for the soft humming of the living ship. Minho tried to understand what he was hearing. His entire worldview was crashing down around him. "You're saying the Great Stellar Collapse was actually an attack?" he asked. "The first wave," Yoon-ji confirmed. "The Devourers tested the galaxy's defenses. When they found none that could stop them, they fed until they were full, then went back to sleep. But that was 200 years ago. Why are they waking up now?" Daeun's expression grew grim. "Because they're hungry again, and this time they won't stop until every star in the galaxy is dark." The implications hit Minho like a physical blow. Every world he knew, every person he cared about was in terrible danger. "How long do we have?" 3 years, Kyung-min said. "Maybe less. The quantum songs are getting stronger. The Devourers are moving." "Quantum songs?" Hae-won asked. "Everything in the universe vibrates," Yoon-ji explained. "Atoms, molecules, planets, stars. Even empty space has a frequency. The Devourers create distortions in these frequencies. We learned to listen for them." "That's how you've stayed hidden?" Minho realized, partly. Sung-ho nodded. "But hiding is no longer enough. The Devourers are spread across the entire galaxy now. There's nowhere left to run." Captain Minho felt overwhelmed. His military training had prepared him for many things, but not for this. What can conventional weapons do against these things? "Nothing," Kyung-min said bluntly. "Energy weapons feed them. Kinetic weapons bounce off their hulls. Nuclear weapons just make them stronger. Then how do we fight them?" "We don't fight them," Da-un said. "We sing to them." "Sing?" Unji stepped forward. "The Devourers operate on quantum frequencies. They use these frequencies to locate and consume matter, but if you can create interference patterns in those same frequencies, you can confuse them," Minho finished. "Like jamming their sensors." "More than that," Sung-ho said. "With the right harmonic patterns, you can turn their own energy against them. But it requires perfect coordination between living beings and biotechnology. That's why our ships are alive," human Hae-won added. "Machines cannot create true harmony. Only living consciousness can sing in tune with the universe itself." The bridge grew quiet as everyone absorbed this information. Finally, Junsik asked the question they were all thinking. "How do we convince the Galactic Council that any of this is real?" Before anyone could answer, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Not harsh mechanical alarms, but a deep, mournful song that seemed to come from the ship's very soul. "What's happening?" Minho demanded. Daeun was already at her station, her hands pressed against the bio-interfaces. Her face went pale. "They're here. A scout ship. It's moving through the outer rim, heading for inhabited space." The main display showed a sector map with a new contact moving at impossible speed. The contact was huge, easily the size of a small planet. "How fast is it moving?" asked Haewon. "Faster than light, but not through hyperspace," Kyung-min replied. "It's folding space-time around itself, creating a bubble of distorted reality." "Can your weapons stop it?" Sung-ho asked Min-ho. Min-ho thought of the combined fleet's most powerful battleships. Their best weapons could crack planets, but looking at this reading, he felt like a child with a toy sword facing a giant. "I don't think so," he admitted. "Then we must try the song," Yoonji said. "It's the only way." "But we're just one ship," Doan protested. "The harmony won't be strong enough." "Then we must gather more ships," Sung-ho decided. "Captain Min-ho, can you contact your fleet?" "Already doing it," Min-ho said, activating his communicator. Silent echo to Fleet Command. "Priority Alpha emergency. We have confirmed contact with hostile force. Size planetary. Speed faster than light. Current weapons ineffective." Admiral Taeho's voice crackled over the comm. "Confirmed hostile contact." "Min-ho, what's your status?" "Sir, I'm aboard the human vessel. They're not our enemy. They're trying to help us against something much worse." "Human vessel?" "Min-ho, report to sickbay immediately. You may be under alien influence. Admiral, listen to me. The great stellar collapse was not natural. We're facing an invasion by machines called Devourers. They destroy star systems. One of them is heading toward the core worlds right now." Long silence. "Then, Min-ho, you're relieved of duty. Return to base immediately." The communication cut off. Min-ho stared at his dead comm unit in frustration. "They don't believe you," Sung-ho said gently. "No. They think I'm crazy or brainwashed." "Then we must show them," Daun said. "The scout ship will reach the outer colonies in 18 hours. When it attacks, your people will see the truth." 18 hours, Min-ho repeated. "How many people live in the outer colonies?" "About 50 million, Jun-sik answered quietly. The bridge fell silent. 50 million people were about to die, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. "Unless," Yoonji said slowly, "we can teach your people to sing in 18 hours. "Is that possible?" Min-ho asked. "We're about to find out," Sung-ho replied. "Daeun, set course for the outer rim. Maximum speed." "Yes, Captain." As Eden's Promise began its desperate race against time, deep in space the Devourer scout ship continued its hunt. It had tasted the quantum signatures of living worlds and it was hungry. The evacuation of Colony World Hanbit was chaos. 50 million people tried to escape on ships that could only carry 10 million. Families were separated. Children cried for parents they might never see again. Admiral Taeho watched the disaster unfold from his flagship and felt helpless. "How long until that thing arrives?" he asked his tactical officer. 6 hours, sir. Maybe less, as 6 hours. Taeho had assembled the largest fleet in galactic history. 300 warships surrounded the colony world, weapons charged and ready. But deep in his heart he knew it would not be enough. The reports from scout ships were terrifying. The Devourer was the size of a small moon, its hull made of some dark metal that absorbed all energy directed at it. Worse, it was not alone. Long-range sensors showed more contacts moving through deep space heading for other colony worlds. "Sir," Communications Officer Sujin called out, "we're getting a transmission from Captain Min-ho. He's requesting permission to approach." "Min-ho is under arrest," Taeho replied. "He's been compromised by alien influence." "Sir, he says he has critical tactical information about the enemy." Taeho paused. Min-ho had been his best captain for years. If there was even a small chance he could help, put him through. But keep weapons locked on his position. The main screen showed Min-ho on the bridge of the alien ship. Behind him, Taeho could see the humans he had heard about. They looked so normal, so peaceful. It was hard to believe they were dangerous. "Admiral," Min-ho said, "the humans want to help us. They know how to fight these things." "By singing to them?" Taeho asked sarcastically. "Min-ho, you sound insane." "Then let us prove it," said a new voice. Captain Sung-ho stepped into view. "Admiral Taeho, I am the commander of this vessel. My people have been fighting the Devourers for 200 years. We know their weaknesses." "What weaknesses?" "My scouts say our weapons do nothing to that thing." "Weapons won't work," Sung-ho agreed. "But harmony will. The Devourers use quantum frequencies to function. If we can create interference patterns, you can jam them." "I understand the theory. But how?" "Our ships can generate the needed frequencies. But we need more ships, more voices. Your fleet has 300 vessels. If we can convert even a few of them, convert them how? Navigator Dayon appeared on screen. We need living interfaces, Admiral. Ships that can respond to consciousness instead of just commands. Your engineer, Haywan, has already begun the process. What process? The image switched to show Haywan working with the human engineer who shared her name. They were installing something that looked like living metal into the Silent Echo's control systems. Bioneural interfaces, the human Haywan explained. They allowed direct mental connection between pilot and ship. Your Haywan is the first of your people to successfully bond with the technology. On screen, the Altarian Haywan touched a panel that pulsed with soft light. Her eyes closed, and suddenly the Silent Echo moved with fluid grace that no mechanical ship could achieve. Incredible, Teho breathed. She's actually flying the ship with her mind. More than flying, said Chief Medical Officer Yunji, joining the conversation. She's singing with it, listen. A soft harmonic tone filled the bridge of Teho's flagship. It was hauntingly beautiful, like the voice of space itself. One ship isn't enough, Shungho said. We need your entire fleet to learn this harmony. Do we have your permission to begin conversions? Teho looked at his tactical display. 4 hours until the Devourer arrived. Even if this alien technology worked, how could they teach 300 crews to use it in time? Do it, he decided. But if this fails, Shungho said quietly, we all die anyway. The next 4 hours were unlike anything in galactic history. Humans spread throughout the fleet, installing bioneural interfaces and teaching alien crews to bond with their ships. Many attempts failed. Some pilots couldn't handle the mental connection and had to be disconnected, but others succeeded. Slowly, ship after ship began to sing. Yunwu, the scanner operator who had first detected the humans, was one of the most successful converts. His ship, a small patrol vessel, sang with crystalline purity. I can feel everything, he reported in wonder. Every star, every planet. The whole universe is alive. That's the quantum song, Daeyun explained. Now listen for the discord. The Devourer creates dissonance in the natural harmony. Hyunwoo concentrated. Suddenly his expression changed to horror. I hear it. It's like screaming. The universe is in pain. That's what we've been running from, Yunji said sadly. The Devourers don't just destroy matter. They torture the fabric of reality itself. With 1 hour remaining, Admiral Teho's tactical officer reported the impossible. Sir, the Devourer has stopped. It's hovering at the edge of the system, not approaching. Why would it stop? It hears us, scientist Kyungmin said. The harmony is confusing it. It doesn't understand how matter can sing. But it's adapting, warned Navigator Daeyun. Look at the quantum readings. It's trying to match our frequency. On the displays, they could see the massive alien ship changing. Its dark hull pulsed with new patterns of light as it analyzed their harmonic interference. It's learning, Captain Minho realized. We need to change the song before it figures us out. How? Asked Admiral Teho. Everyone together, Seung-ho said. Every ship, every crew member, every living being in the fleet. We need perfect unity. I don't understand. How can beings from different species create perfect harmony? Because consciousness is universal, Yunji explained. Every thinking being vibrates at the quantum level. If we can synchronize those vibrations and we become one voice, finished Daun. The order went out across the fleet. 300 ships, 30,000 crew members, all focusing their minds on a single goal. The harmony that emerged was beyond beautiful. It was the sound of life itself, raised in defiance against extinction. The effect on the Devourer was immediate. The massive ship began to shudder. Its hull, which had absorbed every weapon fired at it, started to crack. Pieces of dark metal broke away and dissolved into space. It's working, Teho shouted. The thing is coming apart. But their celebration was premature. As the scout ship died, it sent out a signal. A call to its sleeping brothers across the galaxy. More contacts, reported the tactical officer. Dozens of them, all heading this way. How long? Seung-ho asked. Various times. The closest will arrive in 2 days. Teho felt despair creeping in. We can't fight dozens of those things. No, Seung-ho agreed. But we don't have to fight them all at once. We can teach others to sing. Others? Every world, every species, every living being in the galaxy. The Devourers think they're facing scattered prey. Instead, they'll find a unified choir. Over the following months, the symbiotic accord was born. Human harvest ships visited every inhabited world, sharing bioneural technology and teaching the quantum song. Not everyone could learn it, but enough did. When the Devourers finally awakened in full force, they found a galaxy that had learned to sing in harmony. The final battle was not fought with weapons, but with music. The combined voices of 1,000,000,000,000 souls, all singing the song of life against the silence of death. The Devourers, designed to consume isolated prey, could not adapt to unified resistance. One by one, they fell silent, their ancient programming unable to process the concept of willing cooperation between different species. In the aftermath, Chancellor Yuna and Admiral Taiho established new protocols for galactic cooperation. The humans were no longer hidden refugees, but teachers and guides for a new age. Captain Seung-ho stood on the bridge of Eden's Promise, watching the stars that now sang with harmony instead of screaming with pain. Beside him, Captain Minho worked at a bioneural interface, his consciousness linked to both his own ship and the human vessel. "What happens now?" Minho asked. "Now we grow," Seung-ho replied. "We plant new gardens among the stars. We teach the universe to sing even louder. And if other threats come, then we'll face them together," said Navigator Da-un, smiling as she felt the quantum songs of 1,000,000 worlds joined in peaceful harmony. "Because we've learned the most important truth. Consciousness united is stronger than any force in the universe." The galaxy had learned to sing, and the music would never stop.